ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome. Yes, another live show with me, the Bald Explorer, Richard Vobes, here on the 1st of May, ladies and gentlemen. The 1st of May. I hope you've been dancing around the maypole, been getting out there, casting a clout. Have you garnished your house with flowers? Have you visited the thorn tree? The blooms everywhere. We are in May. It is May Day, and may I say, what a lovely day it is today, yes. After yesterday, today has been an improvement weather-wise. It has been lovely. The sun has been shining, ladies and gentlemen, shining on the righteous. And about blooming time, I can tell you, about blooming time. Although I actually have had a technically day inside trying to do some editing for my clients, waiting for my clients to send me some stuff. And whilst waiting, having some technical issues with my computer and files, which has been, if I had hair, I would be bald. Yes, I would have pulled it out, but I'm already bald. So I've been pulling out the little tiny hairs in different places, ladies and gentlemen, and that's where I'm squirming in my chair. But never mind. Don't let that worry you. I don't want you to be too concerned with the likes of me and my poor problems, because I managed to get through the day and I've got to this part, the best part of the day, where I get to see you. I tune my beady eye down onto you and see what you have been up to, ladies and gentlemen, on this fine May Day. Now, saying May Day a lot because I don't need help. May Day, I don't need help. I do need some sort of brain help, probably, because I'm mentally retarded, but don't let that concern you. I have here this rather interesting book called The English Year, ladies and gentlemen, The English Year. And it's about time we, from May onwards, I thought it's about time we paid tribute to some of the old-fashioned traditions that we have in this country that we seem to forget. We seem in this 21st century of ours to forget. In the world of Twitter, in the world of Facebook, in the world of this fast-paced communication, we seem to forget the most basic and humblest things on this earth. And that's what the Bald Explorer is going to try and bring back to you, ladies and gentlemen. To give you some wise things to think about, to send you forth where no person has gone before for some blooming considerable amount of time. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to look at... have a quick look. Now, if you've been out, you could have realised it's May the 1st, because it should be a bank holiday today. Of course, it should be a bank holiday, but of course the banks don't like it. They always like to have a bank holiday on Monday. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it extends the weekend. Can't have a bank holiday on a Tuesday. It's not fair. Well, we could have had Monday off, couldn't we? We could have had Monday off and Tuesday. That would have been all right. The people aren't moaning. Only the banks, you know, the banks. Because they're not making enough money, are they? They're not getting rich enough. They're forgetting about the blossoms and the fact that the summer is on its way. I don't really know whether we're into the summer yet. I thought we don't get into the summer till June, but I thought we're still into the spring. But anyway, the English year. So what is the English year, ladies and gentlemen? What does it say? What does it say? I'll tell you in a moment, as soon as I get to it. What does it say about May? Well, first of all, let me tell you about... this was something I believe at the meet-up. I think it was Sarah Paul said this. I'm not sure if it was you, Sarah Paul, or somebody. Somebody said to me there was a phrase about casting clouts, and I found it. I found it here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm not just sitting there on my little Todd, you know, when you're busy working away. I'm weaving the content for the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm weaving it away. I'm making sure that it all has some resemblance of order. So, casting clouts, ladies and gentlemen. It says a well-known phrase, cast ne'er a clout, or ne'er cast a clout till May is out. Cautions people not to cast off their winter clothes until they are sure that summer is with us. And it's wise words, really, especially this year, wasn't it? Wise, very wise words, because we had some awful weather over the last couple of days. In recent years, it's been commonly stated that the phrase does not refer to the month of May, but refers to the blossoming of the hawthorn, which in many parts is referred to as May. I'd never heard of that, a hawthorn being referred to as May, but there you are. But many earlier references to this phrase make it perfectly clear that the month is what is meant. The saying was often extended to include other months, ladies and gentlemen, as in the Devon version is noted in 1932 that now cast a clout till April is dead. Change not a thread. Oh, there we are. Till April is dead, change not a thread. And in a rhyme printed in Notes and Queries in 1870, it claimed to be current in Yorkshire. Don't change a clout till May is out. If you change in June, 'twill be too soon. So, so there we go. That's one of the traditional sayings. If you've got a traditional saying for May, I'd love to hear it. Put it into the comments and let us know. Ring the bells of change. That would be fantastic. Let's see if anybody's actually out there. There are a few people out there in the Facebook world. Already 39 people have tuned in to the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi, and it's very nice. Now, don't go away. I know the temptation is to tune out and go, oh, what's he spouting on about today? But don't go away, because we've got a fun-packed show. We really have got a fun-packed show. We're going to be looking at guidebooks a little later in the show. Kevin Hall is going to do something about you. Yes, that's right. We're going to be looking at the EE gadget, ladies and gentlemen. One person's already gone away. I've just noticed it suddenly dropped down. Oh, no, they come back, which is marvellous. There we go, that's fine. We've got a filming tip in today's show. We're going to be looking at some spiritual art coming up in today's show, so that's very interesting. Don't forget, Dumpman is going to be here tomorrow. We've got your group photos to look forward to. And are you superstitious? What is your superstitions? We got into May now. A new month is beginning. We've got new growth, new things, new everything. But what are you superstitious about? Is there a superstition that you are prepared to share with the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi and the rest of the Bald Explorer group and all these lovely people who are watching? We now have another person who has just joined us. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. It is so nice. 41 there. Please don't go away. Please stay with us. It would be very nice if you could just stay the course. You can minimise the picture and put it in the corner while you do other things. So that would be absolutely fantastic. That would be very good. And also, I would like to know, what is your biggest disappointment? I'll tell you my biggest disappointment of the day. Today, two people have disappeared. I'm obviously boring the hell out of you. It's very depressing seeing the numbers and people go, oh, I'm not going to watch this bloke. Just as he's told me to stay, now somebody else has just popped in again. I don't know whether they're coming and going. They're going, oh, no, I don't want to watch this. Oh, I can't bear it. I can't bear it. What's he talking about? And now two people have disappeared. You're doing it on purpose. You're doing it. I'm not going to look. I am not going to look. Hello to Andy Ash. It's very nice to see you. Alan Piddington, Mark Selwood, David Salsona and Claire Leach. Mark Selwood, have I just said that? And Matthew Holdsworth, to name but a few that I can actually see who's popped in. Kevin Hall, my numbers are climbing out of control. Well, there we are. That's very good. All the emojis are here. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, you don't get any of these emojis. You don't get any of these hails and hello to yous and all that sort of stuff. And I do apologise for that, because it is a pre-recorded show that you're watching. But it is live as I record this. And these lovely people who are coming and going, fretting and farting. Farting? I don't know what a fart is, but that's what they're doing. So let's hope we can get that up to about 50 people in today's show, and all will be well. If we can get 50 people watching, I will be very happy, and I will continue to do this malarkey. But if the numbers subside down to zero, then what is the point? Then that is the thing. So I wanted to talk about one other thing here in the English thing about May Day. May Day, May Day. Let's have a look what it is. Have you been dancing around the maypoles? Have you been dancing around your maypole? Because you should be, you see. It's a traditional thing. Now, there's an interesting contribution here. It piqued my interest because it talks about up in Shrewsbury, or Shrewsbury, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Both actually are okay. Both ways of pronouncing it are fine. So don't get you on your high horse because I say Shrewsbury. I don't say Shrewsbury because Shrewsbury wasn't named after the mammal. Let's just get that right. It's not maimed. It's not maimed. It's not named after the mammal. It's a corruption of something like Strobblesbury. Yes, and then there's an even a Welsh version than that. So, people are dropping out like flies. So, it's very disappointing, but never mind. Anyway, I want to read this little bit out to you, and we'll see where we go. Kevin says he'll catch up at the end of the show. Fair enough. On May the 1st, 1952, I visited... This isn't me speaking. This is the author of this thing. the author of something called Law and Language of School Children in 1959. He says, on May the 1st, 1952, I visited a recent building estate in the Monkmoor area of Shrewsbury. Now, I know that very place because in the Monkmoor area there's a delightful fish and chip shop which Harriet and I, when we were together, we would go and visit the fish and chip shop very regularly. They did the best fish and chips I've ever tasted. Anyway, this bloke said he found 4 separate groups of children performing a maypole dance. Hard to believe because the Monkmoor Road is quite busy, but back in 1952, obviously not as busy as it was. The maypole consisted of a pram wheel. Get this, a pram wheel decorated with crepe paper and streamers set on top of a pole that would revolve. How many people would do that these days? It's not that long ago, 1952. Before I was born, unfortunately, but or fortunately, I should say. Anyway, so there, the pram wheel with this pole on the top, so that it could revolve. The pole, varying from 3 to about 5 feet high, was held in position by the Queen. Not the Queen, but the Queen, the May Queen. The May Queen, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone who dressed up as the May Queen today? Well, he should have done. Seated on a wooden stool. The number of dancers, they were all girls apparently, varied from 4 years old to 10. The performers seemed to be aged from 5 to 11, and were dressed in crepe paper finery, the Queen usually wearing a crown of some sort. You know, back in the day they used to have these very simple little pleasures, and how lovely, and how things have changed. How many people have downloaded an app on their little tablet or phone or whatever and danced around the maypole today? I bet nobody has. Except I know that there were some Morris dancers out at the crack of dawn. I've got a photo, we'll show you that a bit later on. That was posted in the Bald Explorer group earlier today, so it's very nice. Keep having these flickers. I can't understand it, that somebody pops in and then pops out. It's most irritating. It's almost just like Avon calling at the door. What's in here? Oh, I don't know, don't like it. If it's you that keep popping in and popping out, will you please sit down and pay attention, for goodness sake? Can't be having with this in, out, shake it all about, for goodness sake. Paul Hine says, I often dress up as a queen. Well, we'd like to see that. Send a picture, please, Paul Hine. Glenn Johnson says, hello, people in my computer. Yes, there's a lot of little tiny people who sneak into the computer and say things. The lovely Julia. I thought it was Julio from Mexico. The lovely Julia is there. She's just said hello to Glenn. Andy Ash is doing... He says it's a fertility dance, which is a bit of a worry, really, when they're so young, from 5 to whatever. These young girls doing a fertility dance. You don't expect them to be fertile at that age, but they're innocent, aren't they? They have not been corrupted. So, yes, Julia wants to see the pictures as well of Paul Hine in his Queen's outfit. Corn rigs, says Andy Ash, for no apparent reason other than he's, I don't know, smoking something illicit. But never mind. Mick Bain says, I hope Dawn is okay with all those Morris men. And Nikki Jess has come on. Steve Pelfold says, I think I should warn the May Day traditions. I went to Jack in the Green in Hastings in 2012 and got the green leaves of fertility thrust upon me. My daughter was born 9 months later. I went back in 2015 and got a bigger twig of bush. 9 months later, twins. So there we are. Good job. I don't believe in all that nonsense, he says. Well, who knows? Now, we want to talk about guidebooks in today's show. Guidebooks for when you go out and visit places. Do you ever have a lovely guidebook with you? Do you buy guidebooks or do you download a guidebook? I love guidebooks. I think they're fantastic things. But do I actually read them? Do you actually read them? That's what I want to find out. So I tell you one person who does read them and collects them and makes a big business out of them. Well, I don't know about business. And that is the lovely Graham Whittington. Yes, he's got a marvellous selection. Just before I went on air today, he had this selection of guidebooks. Look at that, one to the Titanic. I believe there's one about wells and well digging. I'm not quite sure that that's necessarily a guidebook, but maybe it is a guide how to dig a well, which is always quite curious. And, of course, in these guidebooks, they have a little bit of advertising. The Burberry. You know, the Burberry jackets have been around for quite some time. There we go. Look at that. You can go to the Haymarket in London and you can buy a lovely Burberry. Alternatively, there are other companies available, and there's guaranteed waterproofs for your infantry and cavalryman. So you can go there to 125 Regent Street at Cording Limited. George Cording, good old bloke George Cording, according to his advert anyway. But there we go. Something to look at, ladies and gentlemen. Something to look at, something to appreciate, and tell me about your guidebooks. Now, I've got this old guidebook I was showing you yesterday about the story of cheddar, which is written in, I think, 1949. And it goes into huge amounts of detail, which is fascinating. And other guidebooks I've got, of course, this was given to me roundabout on the Sussex Downs, which is sort of a guide with various pictures in it, but again, nice and old, and a sort of lots of old truisms from ye olde days. So it's a lovely read. I mean, sort of delving in. I haven't had much time to sit and read from cover to cover, so nowadays I just have to delve in for a little bit, read a chapter here and a chapter there, or a few pages here or whatever, because I've got to get out and do these walks and make these videos and what have you. This is a great book. Julia's got a much bigger version, which is a little bit more comprehensive, which I mean to get, which has been useful to me, the guidebook on trees, because when you're out and about and you need a quick reference and you go, oh, look at that lovely copper beech. Is that what it is? Oh, no, it's a daffodil. So they're very handy. This is something that I got some yonks ago when I was travelling doing some work. It was 2008, told you it was some yonks ago. Bed and breakfast guide. I don't know why I've still got it. It needs to go in the bin, really. But I did think maybe some of these places will still be there. You could stay at Oliver's Farm, which is in Topplesfield, if you so like the sound of Topplesfield. I can give you them their number and their email address and all that sort of stuff if you so wish. But it does tell you, I think it tells you the price. Hang on, I'm just trying to find out if it gives you a vague idea of how much it costs. £55 to £60 per night. Which is very nice. 3 rooms, one ensuite, 1 Prifax. I don't know what that means. Prifacs. 1 Prifax. Don't know. It's got tea and coffee facilities. Anyway, it's very useful. It's very useful. But these days, who buys a big chunky book that goes out of date for bed and breakfast? This is the AA. I bet they don't print those anymore. I bet that's probably, a collector's item. So that's why I'm holding on to it, because most people probably do their B&B downline or online even, and download an app or something like that, or use the Airbnb, that sort of thing. Another one, this sort of comes out quite regularly. This is a guidebook, different sort of guidebook, but when you're out and about and you decide you might want to go somewhere and have a beer, it's always quite useful, isn't it? It's always quite useful. So you've got to ram up your knapsack with all these books. Here we go. Windmill on the Common in Southwest 1. Clapham Common, this is. You can go to the Windmill on the Common. I don't know if these pubs are still there. 2009, they're probably all closed down. But it tells you where you can go and the sort of beer you can expect to have. So if you're a beer aficionado, which I'm not really a beer aficionado, I like the idea of going around chasing the perfect pint and finding it, because there's so many different varieties. You've got 4 main ingredients to beer, more wine, more beers, more real ales than wine. You can get your water, it's got to be right. If you've got the right sort of water, the clarity of the water, the taste of the water, whether it's hard water or soft water, whether it's got limestone filtered through it, what minerals are in there, very important. Then you've got the barley, of course. You've got the barley, the wheat, the barley, obviously, not the wheat, but depending on what variety of barley it is and how it's been roasted, and whether it's heavily roasted or light roasted, or whether it's an amber or a dark ale, very important. You've got the hops, which is another important part of it. The hops, whether they're Goldings hops or other types of hops, British hops, American hops, all those sort of things, they go into it. 4 lots of ingredients. And the other one, of course, is the yeast. Yeast is very important because that's what makes the whole thing get going, eats up the sugars, turns the sugar to alcohol, all that business. And many breweries will keep back some of the yeast and keep it in culture so that their beers are all the same. Not big manufacturers. I'm sure they have some special, they probably, I don't know how they do them, but I'm talking about the smaller brewers who make these lovely real ales. Now, I'd love the idea of that, but actually I'm not a very big drinker. I don't want to drink too much because I don't want to put on too much weight. I'm trying to lose a bit of weight, trying to get fit, trying to get, because I'm now a single man, ladies and gentlemen. A single man again. Poor old Harriet and I have had to give up the ghost on our relationship. I'm a single man, and I've got to start making myself a bit more presentable to the ladies, don't you know? Not that I'm in any great rush to do that, really, but anyway. So I don't want to be drinking too much beer and getting a big lardy, but I do love the idea of chasing after the beer. So you could have just a very small, a half here and a half there, just to get the taste, because the taste is very nice. Could go to the Pig and Fiddle. That's a lovely name of a pub. I don't know if it's still there. That's in Somerset, where we were quite close to. That's in Sarson Street. Abbey Bellringer. Butcombe Bitter. Guest Beers. Says here, a large and busy town centre with a varied clientele and friendly atmosphere. One end is an old shop front. The other is an outside courtyard with drinking benches and covered in heaters. Probably now an Asda. But hey-ho. Anyway, that's another interesting guidebook, of which that's probably the first time I've read that since 2009, which is a bit of a shame thing. And finally, the other sort of guidebooks that I quite enjoy, and I want to do some features on the Bald Explorer thing, is these sort of things. This is a particularly lovely coffee table book called Britain Now and Then. And I do like those now and then type pictures where you see something back in the early days of photography, the Francis Fifth type collection, Francis collection. Thrift, is it? Thrifty bloke. And I'm just trying to see if there's some now and thens in here. It says it's now and then, but actually it's a lot of it is just old pictures that you get whoops, there we are. You get the kind of idea. I'd like to go and take more pictures of places based on a photograph, like we did with the Eric Slater. Go somewhere and see how it's changed and remark about that. And that's something to give you an idea for the Vobing reporters, ladies and gentlemen, because the Vobing reporters is very important in our show. It's that you go out and do something. And if I can inspire you with some ideas to go out and go, oh, yes, I've got this old picture. I'd like to go and find that street, see what houses are still there, what shops are still there, how things have changed. Look at that old horse and trap. Look at that old tramp walking down. Oh, he's still there 200 years later. Amazing. So it doesn't have to be a photograph. It could be a woodcut. It could be a watermelon. Not a watermelon, a watercolour. In fact, that's the words I was looking for. Or it could be an oil painting, or it just could be a simple sketch, an ink and pen sketch, or a pencil sketch, or it could be an etcher sketch. Who knows? Anyway, so that's one idea for you to give it a whirl. As bad as the slug and lettuce, says Linda Kane, which is very nice. Anyway, people are talking amongst themselves. So how many people? We've got 42 now watching, so it's slowly creeping up. Thank you very much. If you stayed, if you were intending to leave and you're just staying out of sheer curiosity, what is this idiot on about? I do appreciate it on tonight's show. On tonight's show, it's very good. Now, tomorrow we've got Dump Man coming. Now, that isn't a euphemism. We're not doing a live show from the little room upstairs. No, we are doing it from here. But Dump Man is the guy who's taken me around the country in some of my videos, my walking videos. He's taken me to the disused railways around this neck of the woods and some old stations as well. And he's got a few more lined up. We're going to talk to him, find out what he's been going up to. You can search him out or look up Dump Man Films on Google. You'll find his website. You'll see the sort of things he gets up to. Well, he's going to be sitting in here accompanying me. I've got to think of something to give him as a drink to whet his appetite, and some food of some description to welcome him in. And that would be absolutely lovely. Then the following Wednesday, we've got Richard Suggett, which would be superb. Glenn Johnson says, check out Jeff Pitcher's pics on his Facebook page of his old pics held up, photoed in modern times. Great, he says. Oh, well, there we are. I must check that out. The Dumpman legend, yay for Dumpman, everyone says. Does he take a dump at each station? I don't think so. Because he goes to a lot of stations, so he'd have to eat a lot of food in between, wouldn't he? Love disused lines and Motorhead, says Glenn Johnson, who is waiting for tomorrow's show. Good, which is... Mark Selwood says, I'm hopping in the weather... Oh, no, he's hoping, in fact, that the weather be good, piddling rain today, and prolly morrow. Do you mean probably tomorrow? Anyway, Jane Ainsley says, have they upgraded Worthing Station? I'm afraid the last time I saw it was quite dismal. Well, it probably was upgraded. It's probably gone back to being dismal again, I'm sorry to say. Some steam locomotive oil for Dumpman to drink. That's a good idea. I think that's an excellent idea. Right, OK, so let's talking of Vobing reporting, which we did. The lovely Kevin Hall has been out and about, and he's been doing some shooting. Would we like to see what he's been shooting? Of course we would. Julia, the lovely Julia. Prick up your ears, open your eyes. This is dedicated to you. And here it is, the lovely Kevin Hall.
Good morning, Richard. This is Kevin doing some Vobing reporting from Papplewick Church. And Papplewick Church, the name here is the Church of St James. And I thought perhaps this might be of interest particularly to Julia, because of all the yew trees that are around here. There are some absolutely amazing ones, and just scrolling round, moving round this way, just going to pop back this way a little bit and just show you there. But in particular I wanted to show you this particular yew tree. It is huge, absolutely huge, and I'm just coming under the canopy of the tree now, and you've got these large gravestones and tombs all around, and as I come through here, so sheltered from the wind, but there you can see where one bit has been filled in with bits of the old yew. Again, as I come further round, you'll see that one of the branches is being supported there, again using a part of the old yew tree. But I don't think I've ever been into a graveyard where there has been so many yew trees. So as I just walk up this footpath in the churchyard, excuse the camera shaking a little bit, I'm just going to back away to try and get in the size of this yew. I'm just going to pan over to my right so you can see that beautiful, I think it's a copper beech. So I'm back on that yew tree now, and I'm still backing up, still not got it in fully. I'm nearly at the churchyard gates, but there I'm going to pan up a bit so I can't go any further backwards. So that's an amazing. So this is Papplewick, near Hucknall in Nottinghamshire, and Hucknall is the place where my father was born in 1928. He comes from a family of miners. My father was the only one that didn't go into the mines. My grandfather said, "There's one thing you'll never do, my boy, is go down the mines." But there you go, that's the Papplewick churchyard.
So there we are, ladies and gentlemen, another fantastic Vobing reporting by the wonderful Kevin Hall. Thank you so much, Kevin, for doing that, and I'm sure Julia is absolutely chuffed. All those yews, amazing. So if you're out and about anywhere, do record a little bit. It can be a very simple thing. Hold your phone up. I haven't got mine in front of me. Hold it up in front of you like that, and you can just talk straight into the microphone, point it away from you. If you don't have to appear on it at all like Kevin there, you can just point it out and give a little running commentary or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. And then send it in. Just send me an email, richard@vobes.com, and send it by WeTransfer if you can. WeTransfer.com. WeTransfer, all one word, WeTransfer.com. It's free for up to 2 gigs, so very easy service. Put my email in as the send to send it to your email address, so you know where it's come from, and then the file and away it goes, and it'll come to me, and then I'll prep it up for the show, and we can be watching your videos. So try and remember to be a Vobing reporter. Would be absolutely good. Mobile phones work very well. Simple little stuff like that, you know, it just adds a whole dimension to the show, which is rather good. We're going to be doing some live shows. I mean, I know this is a live show, but we're going to be live out and about very soon. As now that we're in May, and I can't see outside at the moment, but it's still, you know, we're getting lighter. We are getting lighter, and this is where I'm going to start using this little gadget. This little gadget, I bought this to take to Glastonbury. And we did have a bit of a hiccup one morning at Glastonbury when the internet of the B&B that we were staying went down. I don't know what happened to the modem, but they restarted the modem in the morning, and then it was fine. And of course, when that happened, I thought, oh, well, I've got this, because I brought this just in case there was no internet or not sufficient internet to do a live show from the B&B in Glastonbury. And then there was a tiny little card. There's a little card in here, which I've just put up there. I've taped it in, actually, now, because it dropped out when I was charging it up before I left, and I left it on the desk. So when I got down there, I didn't know what the password was, which was very stupid of me, so I couldn't use it. So that's why the show was late. But anyway, this is the EE modem. Other ones are available, of course. I chose this one because I was recommended that the 4G through EE is one of the best in the country, and so I did a bit of research. Anyway, it's a tiny little thing like this. Look, I'll hold it up against my head. You can see it's about the size of my mouth. Probably get it in my mouth. You press it once to get it going. It connects up to 4G. It tells you along here whether it's... Hey, I'll do it. I'll press it on like this. One long press like this. And it lights up like this. And then it takes about 30 seconds or so to work out whether it's going to connect to 4G or 3G. So I'm inside my house. We're just waiting for that. And the beauty of it is, of course, this becomes your modem. You can then put this by a windowsill, if you like. Okay, so it's connected. It says it's 4G here. I don't know if you can see that. It says 4G. It's out of focus, I'm afraid. 4G with a full signal where I am. So that's really cool. And that's all ready to go. Then... with my laptop, the laptop then connects to this. This connects to the 4G signal, and we can broadcast the show. And you can buy however many dollops of data that you want, various gigs. So, but you only with the service, the contract that I've got, such as it is it's a rolling contract. Although I actually stop it each month, depending on, you know, I'll probably roll it for 3 months. And then once we get into the autumn and it's dark, I'll probably stop it again. To turn it off, you just press it one more time. The light should come on. And then it should turn itself off. There we go. And it's a simple... broken. Oh, no, it's not. It's still here. That's just the box. That's just the box landing. So very, very simple. So the idea of that is that we go out... somewhere, such as the Regency Townhouse on the 26th of May. We'll have that in the windowsill. We'll have ourselves set up on a desk, and the signal will connect to that. That will connect to the 4G in Hove. It should be fine, because there should be plenty of 4G, and we should then be able to broadcast in decent quality to you, which will be great, as best we can. So, so I've got that. I wanted to show you that. I've had that for about a week now, and I haven't used it. I've got 15. I bought a 15 gig package, but each month you can chop and change whatever you want. So that's quite good. You can connect up to 10 devices at once to it, which is rather nice. It's pocket size, and it's a secure Wi-Fi connection and all of that. If you've used one, I'd love to know what you think of it, what you make of it. It'd be very interesting. It's a nice bit of kit, says Andy Ash. Over my head, I'm afraid. Bob's your uncle. Hi, Vobie, says Dan Thompson. Hello to you. But you can do that with your phone. Just tether your phone, says Alan Piddington. You can, but I can't. Not on my contract, because my contract only gives you about 1 gig a month. And by about the 3rd of May, I've run out of gigs. So you may remember I did a very impromptu live from the Glastonbury tour, from the tower on the top of the tour, Burr Tour at Glastonbury. About 5 minutes, it wiped out my data immediately. So yes, you can. I know what you're saying if you've got a good package and stuff. But this is dedicated for that purpose, so I'm hoping that it will be a bit better, and it's a separate thing. And of course, I'm paying for it out of the patronage. So in other words, all those people who support the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi, the Bald Explorer, is helping to make this happen, and this is where some of your cash goes. So I just thought I'd let you know that. Now, on that note, let me tell you, you can become a Bald Explorer patron. Yes, support the Bald Explorer. Go to you'll see it there, baldexplorer.com/support. If you are one of those lovely people who believe that what I'm trying to do here by sending out daily walks, Monday to Friday, a fresh walk, somewhere new, somewhere exciting, something lovely that you can enjoy. If you think that's a good thing, if you think that sitting in this studio and bringing the community together is a good thing, and trying to sort of include you as much as I can with the Vobing reporting and getting you to post pictures and getting you to talk together, and the meetup that we've just done and all those sort of things, and doing extra special mini adventures like going to Glastonbury and doing things at the Regency Townhouse and various other things that we've got planned. If you think all of that is worth it, let me tell you that it's a bit of a full-time job for me. I'm trying to do my corporate stuff in between, but actually I don't have a lot of work, so I'm focused all on this. And of course it costs money to put petrol in the car to get across the countryside. And if you think all of this is good and you want to support the Bald Explorer and make it continue to happen, then you can. If you're one of those generous people who thinks it's worth doing, you can go to baldexplorer.com/support. There it is. There's the address. And you can either make a one-off donation, which is great, or, of course, you can subscribe and become a patron and pay, I don't know, like a cup of coffee a month. That's all. Like a couple of quid a month to get 20 walks every day, 20 walks 5 days a week, 20 walks a month. Not 20 walks a day, that was a bit of a slight exaggeration, but interesting places for you to on your feed to look at and comment on and share and tell people about. And you get the 5 of these live shows where I try and bring some entertainment and some joviality and frivolity and some fun and all that into your life for £2 a month, ladies and gentlemen. £2 a month. If you think that's worth it, then that would be really good. And if you do that, you become a patron of Vobes and you get my Naked Englishman podcast. Now, I know that sounds a little obscene. I don't do it naked, of course. It's not about being physically naked. It's metaphorical. I record, not into this, but let's imagine it is. I record, sometimes in the studio here, sometimes out and about on a portable recorder, my daily diary, my journal, my daily journal, an audio journal of my life, which I call The Naked Englishman because it is the show stripped down. It is without the bells and whistles. It's just me being genuine and telling you my innermost thoughts, my plans and things my objectives that I'm trying to do in the day. Sometimes it can be very personal. Sometimes you get it can be uncomfortable listen because, life can dish up some terrible things and we all feel down about certain things. We all feel elated about certain things. So sometimes you get a very human story. It's a very different animal to this. And that goes out every day. It's sort of 10 to 15 minutes on average. Every day is a little bit. Now, if you've heard The Naked Englishman before and or you're a subscriber to it, you can say in the comments what you think of it. Some people obviously don't listen to it every day. It's too much. They may listen to it, delve into it once a week. They may listen to a number of them in one go, as many people do. You can listen to it as a podcast and all that. It's a very personal thing, but it's my way of saying thank you for supporting the Bald Explorer and all that I do. I don't go asking for money on a regular basis. Every now and again I drop this in when it's relevant, but we do need to find a way to fund this. I can see that down the line, if we could get 10,000 people watching the videos every day, 10,000 people, then you could get a sponsor. You could get a brewery or somebody, or a walking clothing outfit to sponsor the shows, so that when you go, you just have their message at the front. They know that there's 10,000 people looking, and they would be able to sponsor the show and would pay for it. We could go further afield, we could do some great things, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I'm building this up very slowly. You guys are very, very helpful. All the admin people are superb. Claire Leach was absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Claire, and Judith Oakley, and everybody who's helped in any small way, everybody who contributes. It's all building it up. But, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and we do need to try and build it up as much as we can. And so any sort of thing. Now, what I don't want the same people. This is what happens. If I do one of these, I get the same people donating more cash. And I feel terrible about that, because the people who've already helped out and donated, you know, you've done your bit. But there's lots of people who are watching on the sidelines and kind of go, well, you know, he seems okay. We get the shows anyway. We don't have to contribute. And that's true. It's not. I'm not pushing a guilt trip on anybody down here. But it is a fact. It is a fact that it does cost money to do this, and a lot of people do seem to get a lot of pleasure out of it. It's not just an ego trip for me. It's a lot of hard work. You may not appreciate the stuff that goes on behind the scenes to bring out the shows and stuff. You may think, oh, he just drives out, does a walk 10 minutes, and it may seem like that. But people who work with me will know it's a little bit more complicated than that. And anyway, so that's the thing. If you want to become a patron of Vobes, then it would be absolutely very nice. Now, later on this week, ladies and gentlemen, on Friday, one of the videos that we're going to do, we're going to have an interview with a chap called John Railton. Now, John Railton, unusual person, I have to say, unusual person. Not sure I fully understood what he was on about, but, you know, I'm happy to share his knowledge and wisdom. He is a spiritual artist, ladies and gentlemen. I thought putting him on Friday would be great for the show. It's a walking video, but it goes out on Friday, because it sort of leads us gently into our Glastonbury videos, which will be next week. Monday to Friday, we will have the Glastonbury. I say we will. I've yet to edit them. I've been so busy on other things, but I've yet to edit them. But the aim is to have them next week. So at the end of the week, we'll have John Railton talking about it. Now, I've got a little snippet from some of John Railton, and he's talking about one of the processes that he uses in making his photographs. He photographs trees, I should say that. He photographs trees, and he believes that in the photographs are revealed faces of all sorts of things, spirits, faces of tree creatures, even extraterrestrials, he told me. So I'm not quite sure I understand it, but he reckons he's been guided to do this. I've no question, you know, you can't doubt the man. If that's what he thinks, that's what he thinks. I'm not going to ridicule him. It's what he believes, and so, you know, let him do his thing. But there's a little snippet. Here's a little snippet from the interview that I did, just to whet your appetite.
You do a process,
yeah,
where you'll capture perhaps half a face, and then you'll mirror it, which isn't really photoshopping it in any way. You're just putting the mirror image,
the side of it,
the side of it. Yeah.
Thing. Can you make that out there?
Oh yeah.
So when we zoom out of that, and this is the beauty of obviously having the app on the phone, I can do it here.
You can do it instantly, can't you?
I can see all the things looking at me. We can see there straight away when I've mirrored it. I'll zoom into it. But when I've mirrored that picture, let me just show you on the. Sorry, I'm going a bit quick here.
That's okay.
There is the face. I don't know if you can make it out with your camera.
Yeah, probably.
There's a face there looking at me.
Yeah, I can see it.
Now that, I believe, is Synonus, who's the green man, who is the Celtic god of nature and of the underworld as well.
So he would appear on many trees.
Yes.
And it's not that he's just following us around.
No.
He's just omnipresent. Is that it?
Yeah. I would say that this tree's been used a lot for obviously worshipping him. When I first took a picture of this tree, I split the tree in two with the mirroring, and what came out was like this classic picture of him. I guess in mythology, it was almost like I was being shown that yes, he is in this woods. He's obviously everywhere in nature, but it was almost as if I was being shown that he was here.
Oh, hang on, I'm on. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Make of it what you will. I noticed that Mark English said it's called a psychic artist, but he calls himself a spirit artist or spiritual artist. So I'm only going on what he calls himself on his website. So anyway, that's coming on Friday. There's a 10-minute video based on that. You'll be able to take him what you will, make of it what you will, rather. And be interested in the comments on that one, because I was a bit confused. But anyway, that's not a hard thing for me. Right, time to go and have a look in the group pictures. And we're going to start with the Gypsy Moth here, ladies and gentlemen. A very famous ship, as I'm sure you're aware. Terry Wood has been having a look around that and taking some pictures, which is very nice, lovely to see. Sarah Poole. Sarah Poole has been out and about taking photographs of some wildflowers. I believe this is white comfrey. And she's taken some pictures of others. That's a subject that I would love to know a lot more about, but do not, unfortunately, know enough. In the meantime, Matthew Holdsworth, apart from being around in Reigate, has nipped down to Christ's Hospital on May Day to have a look. Christ Hospital there, they're a splendid building. I used to live in Horsham at one time, and there they are doing, I guess, a little bit of singing and stuff, and I think they do a bit of dancing about in some other pictures. Check out the photographs, all of them in the group for you to enjoy. Mark Selwood has been spending money, ladies and gentlemen. He's been spending money on some gear. Apparently he's got himself a DJI Gimbal, a Rode microphone, and he's going to buy himself a portable recorder as well. So yes, it does get very expensive, this filming lark, you know. That's kind of what I was talking about with the patron and Vobes thing, you know, continually having to sort of lay out and pay some money. Now, the other day, ladies and gentlemen, Julia and I went to Selborne, and that's Selborne Church there, St Mary's in Selborne, and the tree you can see on the ground is a yew tree. It is the Selborne yew, and Julia found this old picture I can't remember when that fell down actually, but the Selborne yew is still part of it, is still there, although I believe it's dead. But some other tree is growing in it. These are Julia's pictures, the lovely Julia, I should add. And there's a lot of spooky things connected with that tree. A number of people have experienced some very odd things. And even Julia, when she was trying to take a picture of it, a branch lashed out at her. Nothing to do with me. It just suddenly whipped and stabbed her in the eye, as if to say, keep back, keep back. But bless her, she carried on. And she did her best. So she got the picture, which is the main thing. Now, here we go. What do we got here? Glenn Johnson has been out in the dark, chasing dragons in St Leonard's Forest at night. And there's a night shot. And there's some very fine photographs in the group. Go and check them out, where he is looking for dragons. I'm not sure whether he found any dragons, but go and check that out, which is definitely worth a look. Also, as we are now in May, have a look at the cherry tree in Claire Leach's front garden. It's looking absolutely resplendent. She's got a couple of photographs of her cherry tree, which is lovely. Thank you for posting those, which is always good. I mentioned it was May Day, didn't I? Well, some people got up very early. Yes, Anita Turk posted this. It's the Cuckoo's Nest Morris and Brighton Morris men and women, presumably. I'm not quite sure where they went to do this, but they got up at 4 o'clock, I believe, this morning, and were dancing about, welcoming in the 1st of May, which is absolutely fantastic. And then as soon as they went away, then Alan Piddington managed to capture well, it looks like a zebra going over his house, but it's actually a Spitfire MJ627, apparently. I don't know what model, what mark that is, but MJ mark, isn't it? That's the model. beautiful Spitfire went over his head. He's near Biggin Hill, I think. So thank you for posting that. Do like the Spitfire photos. A bit of heritage there from the Second World War. Although I think they're much later, aren't they? They're not the Battle of Britain time. And finally, Steve Pilford yesterday took this lovely picture at the end of the day of the sunset going down from his window from behind his computer screens. And I noticed there is a bald head with a map behind him, and clearly he is watching something of huge and paramount importance, which is superb to see. Thank you very much, Steve. So there we are, a quick look in there. Lots more photographs. People are adding photos all the time. It's superb. So do go and check them out, which is really, really good. Before we go, I wanted to talk about what is your biggest disappointment of the day. Has anybody got any biggest disappointments of the day? My wife cried her heart out in the church of Selborne. She said it was the Holy Spirit manifesting itself to her, says Paul Hine. Well, I'm sorry she was crying about it. That's such a shame. And don't forget the hurricanes, of course, Glenn. Hurricanes, of course, there were more hurricanes in the Second World War. Certainly in the first part, in the Battle of Britain, there were more hurricanes, and they did such a marvellous job. And everybody talks about the Spitfires. I mean, it was a fantastic aeroplane, and Mitchell did a terrific job on it. But you're absolutely right. The hurricanes do get a bit of a sort of forget-me-not approach to them, and yet they were just as heroic and just as great aircrafts. My biggest disappointment is the gimbal has not arrived, says Richard Suggett. That's a shame. It was tears of joy. Oh, that's all right. That's okay. Sorry. When people say tears, you generally think it means that they were upset, but tears of joy is good. Alan says the MJ627 was built at Castle Bromwich in 1943. That's the Spitfire that we just saw. Kevin Hall says, going to the dentist to have my tooth repaired for a crown to be fitted. Is that the disappointment of the day? Jennifer says hi to everybody. Hello, Jennifer. Nice to see you. Opened a packet of biscuits at work only to find them mostly broken. If that was the biggest disappointment of your day, then you know you've had a pretty good day. My disappointment of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've noticed up here, I want to try and slowly put more photographs of the group and people in it and stuff on my wall. I want to include more of you guys here. Now, I know the lovely Julia posted when we were in Glastonbury a particularly lovely selfie. Here it is, here on her channel. That's my Piff helmet gone again. And here it is, and it was a lovely picture. Oh, I've got my hands over her face. There we go. A lovely picture with some bald bloke dancing in there. She looked so happy and jolly. And it on her personal page, it caused a lot of sensation. People loved it. So I thought it would be very nice, because she's been helping me for some time, as you know, and I thought it'd be very nice to have a nice little not framed, but a nice little thing done for her as a surprise, because I'm a generous sort of bloke in one way or another. Well, I went down the road to Jessop's. I'm going to mention their names. I went to Jessop's, and they showed me this lovely demonstration of a picture. It was printed on this piece of wood. It was printed on the wood. It looked very nice. So I said, I'll have one of those, thinking I was going to, make this present for Julia. And then as they were going through, I said, oh, sod it, I'll have two. I'll have one in the studio, I thought. And so I had two, and they said it would be an hour. I thought, that's amazing. That's really good. It wasn't too expensive. So I said, right, we'll have two of those. I'll come back in an hour. Came back in an hour. Good as their word. It was done. That's true. But when I looked at it, I don't know if you want to look at that closely, all they've done is they've printed out a picture and stuck it on a piece of wood. And what they do is they give it to you in the packet and say, here it is, and away you go. Well, when I got home and had a look at it, I was bitterly disappointed, because I thought it was going to be printed onto the surface of the wood and be very nicely done. And I wanted to give it to Julia as a present to say thank you for your hard work. And there were, as in the two, I gave Julia the better one. This one is so slap, shoddy workmanship. And the picture is exposed. It's just a picture, so I've already got fingerprints all over it now. All over Julia's lovely face, which is a nuisance. And of course, what will happen is it will it will probably fade. There's a bit on the side here where the paper is overlapping. It's a real shoddy piece of work. So I wanted to name and shame them, really. I did feel I could go back and say, sod it, I don't want them, and go elsewhere. But actually, because I'm going to be away, and Julia was having such success with her picture, and she was so thrilled, I wanted to get it done and before I went away. And so I said, well, look, I'll try and get a better version done, because it's a lovely picture. She looks particularly happy there. And somewhere, can't see the nail now, somewhere, there we go. Oh, God. Just bear with me a second. There we go. So I was, you know, when you want to bring a little bit of joy into someone's heart, and the people that you think should do a job, they let you down. That's how I felt. Anyway, I'd said I was coming over to drop something by, so I'd set her up thinking there's something exciting happening, and then I was only able to hand over this very... I just think sometimes standards just have dropped, and I felt embarrassed, really. But I will make it up to you, Julia. I will do a nicer picture. But it looks all right in the back of the studio. So anyway, the idea is to try and get some more pictures of you guys, the good supporters, the lovely supporters, and get you involved in the studio somehow, so that you are more connected. That's the concept behind that. Can't afford to do everybody, but if you want to send a picture in, then that would be absolutely fantastic. But anyway, I thought we'd start with one of them and see how we go. But that was my biggest disappointment of the day, which is a shame. Graham Whittington says, I use a company called Whitehall in Germany for all my printing. Well, I should have gone online, really. I have to say, Jessop's is... that they've really let me down. Julia's very kind. She's saying it's still a lovely memento. She thanks you very much, which is very nice. Adam Pillington says, photo box, shop canvas, simple canvas. Thanks for that. I'm going to open that in a... Can I open that whilst we're live? Yeah. Thanks very much. I'm going to get a better version done, because I could take it back, but I've named and shamed them. Don't go to Jessop's. It just seems to be they were just rushed, and it's so slipshod, you know. They should do a good job first time round. You know, they've been around for a long time, so it's such a shame. Who is the little lad in the picture frame behind you, says Kevin Hall. Oh, I'm glad you noticed. That's my little Stanley. He's 27 now. He was probably about 3 or 4 then. And yesterday, if you noticed, you would have seen Georgie, little bald-headed Georgie. She is no longer bald-headed. Her father, on the other hand, has lost all his hair since. Anyway, so there we go. Linda Kane says, pride in a job comes to mind. Exactly. There was obviously no pride in that, and I should have gone elsewhere. I do, you know, I feel really bad about it, because I wanted it to be really nice. But hey-ho, it is what it is. I will make it up to her. Anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about superstitions, but maybe I'll talk about superstitions with Dumpman tomorrow. Do tune in at 8 o'clock British Summer Time. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you very much for all the comments. I'm sorry I don't always get to reply to them. By the time I finish the show, it's quite exhausting. I do read back most of the comments, and sometimes I bung likes on, and you know, I absorb it all. But I do hope that's okay. I do my best anyway. Don't forget, you can become a patron if you wish. But in the meantime, if you hear that music, you know that it's time for the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi to put his toys away. Shake his fist at Jessop's and prepare to upload to YouTube. So without further ado, thank you so much for watching. It's been absolutely fantastic. And tune in tomorrow to see Dumpman. And then I'm going to be up in Cambridge. Well, not Cambridge, Cambridgeshire. At Soton Newton. Soton near St. Neots. Until then, ta-ta everyone. Thanks for coming along. Bye for now. Bye-bye.